As an official intervenor in the FERC Northeast Energy Direct project, as an official intervenor in the FERC Northeast Energy Direct project under CP 13499, CP 13502, and PF 1422, the Constitution Pipeline Project, the Wright Compressor Station Project, and the Northeast Energy Direct NED, Tennessee Gas Line Pipeline and Compressor Stations, multiple compressor stations projects. I am here to place on the record my full opposition to any and all pipelines or compressor stations authorized by FERC in the state of New York. As evidence that FERC must deny the Northeast Energy Direct projects, including the Constitution Pipeline, the Wright Compressor Station, and all of the Tennessee Gas Pipeline proposed projects, I am submitting into evidence FERC's blatant violations of the National Environmental Policy Act. And let me just clarify for the people here listening to the lies that FERC continues to perpetuate, they are held accountable to statutory regulations set by the U.S. Congress and the Council for Environmental Quality, which is in the executive branch of our president. So there is accountability. They are not independent, and they do have checks and balances, just like every other federal agency. FERC has already failed to comply with the NEPA, which they are mandated by Congress to comply with, and they're mandated by the executive branch to comply with the Council of Environmental Quality guidance on how to meet the standards and the regulatory requirements of the National Environmental Policy Act, a statutory regulatory requirement of the U.S. Congress. In its current FERC's current environmental assessment of the Wright Compressor Project and the Constitution Pipeline projects, they did not even begin to deal with the environmental impacts of the Wright Compressor Station or the Constitution Pipeline. Now FERC intends to authorize more projects in the same areas. These are co-located additional compressor stations in the Schoharie County area, the Albany County area, and the surrounding areas. They're creating an extreme environmental hazard to residents, farmers, and businesses. Not just farmers are affected. There are tourism industry businesses that are affected. There are restaurant businesses that are affected. Nobody can survive these environmental hazards. They are going to cause multi-billion-dollar tourism industry and restaurant industry businesses to collapse. The economic consequences are immense. The environmental consequences are difficult to even comprehend. Wherefore, I am submitting into evidence at this official meeting as an official intervenor the following photographs of Schoharie Creek and Ballston Spa natural springs. These photographs document the FERC's intentional violation of the National Environmental Policy Act, a statutory regulatory requirement of FERC. FERC is required to abide by the National Environmental Policy Act under the U.S. Congress's statutory requirements. They did not abide by the NEPA in this latest approval or authorization of the Constitutional Pipeline and the Wright Compressor Station by not including an analysis of the environmental impacts of these important waterways, the Schoharie Reservoir, the Schoharie Creek, the Ballston Spa springs, the natural springs these are not only important public drinking supplies and fishery habitats, they're dramatically impacted by this Wright Compressor Station that already exists and the additional facilities. They will be further impacted by the newly proposed pipelines. The Schoharie Reservoir and the Schoharie Creek are not only directly impacted by these highly hazardous projects, but they're a vital source of public drinking water to downstream residents in the Catskill Mountain region, New York City, and the upstream regions in Saratoga County. The population that exposed...
Ma'am, I'm asking you to stop.
The population that is exposed is close to 19 million New York residents, plus
Ma'am, I'm asking you to stop.
millions of residents downstream.
You're
not helping us.
Please.
Can you stand back from
taking
the
other
podium?
people's hands.
You're too physically close. You're getting aggressive.
I said,
And there's
please.
not a police officer in the room.
Could you please
So
let
if you
another
feel
person speak?
you need to call a police officer, go
I
ahead.
said, please let
Please
someone else
stand
speak.
back so I can move back to my seat. Stand back.
Go ahead.
Do not get physically aggressive.
I just walked up to you and
Stand back.
Go ahead.
Stand back.
Please go sit down.
Thank you.